Welcome to Body in Balance Podcast. I am your host, Charlotte Johnson, the certified licensed physician assistant, sent here to kick some knowledge your way once a week for the purpose of educating, informing, and enlightening this audience concerning physical, spiritual, and emotional aspects of our bodies in relation to our Creator, the one, the only, the true and living God. He is the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. Let us give it up for Yahweh. Hello, this is a great time. I'm just coming off of being at the AIM convention in Baltimore, Maryland. Wow. That's all I can say is wow. I had such a wonderful time. It was it I want to let you know that you can go on the Kojic website and you can look at some of the messages. They were dynamic messages. The music was off the chain. I'm telling you, it was great. I just enjoyed myself the whole week. It was a lot of dynamic messages heard that was given and shared. I'm part of the International Sunday School Department, and we had great lessons and training and things like that. It was just really, really fun. I had the opportunity before I start that, I want to make you all aware, those of you who are not aware, that I have written a book, and the book is out now on Amazon. It's out now on Amazon, and it's called Mastering the Doctor Visit. Yes, Mastering the Doctor Visit. This is the cover of the book. So when you go on Amazon, you can look for Mastering the Doctor Visit. And basically, I'm talking to patients so you can understand from a provider's perspective, what do we need from you? What do we need that will help you to have a better visit? And so in this book, there are some tips and things that can get you through a visit so that you can make sure that your doctor is hearing the things that you want to have addressed. Also, that they understand what you want to have addressed. Always go in with symptoms. Share symptoms, because our mind, this book shares this, our mind, the provider's mind, works like a computer. We need input so that we can give you appropriate and accurate output. We need input, and that way we can give you appropriate, accurate output. Not so much you come in with your diagnoses already. That doesn't help you a lot. Sometimes things are missed because we don't really know what's going on fully. All right? And so let's get started. I want to get started. I told you that we were at the AIM convention, and I had the opportunity to sit on the platform. Sitting on the platform, it was loud. It was very loud. The music was loud, but it has to be, and it was because it was a concrete building. When you have a concrete building, the acoustics is a lot louder so that the sound can carry, because there were hundreds, probably, I'd say a few thousand people that were there. It was a few thousand people that were there, and so there was a need for the music to be loud enough for people to understand what was being said. That being said, how loud is too loud? How loud is too loud? We're going to talk about the noise induced hearing loss that can occur over time. Noise induced hearing loss. Noise is measured by decibels. Sorry about that. Is measured by decibels. And so, with it being measured by decibels, you have to protect your hearing. You have to protect your hearing. That's very important. So, we're going to cover on this agenda how you hear, how your ears hear from sound waves to signal your brain to understand. 2 decibels is how we measure sound. That's the scale that we measure sound. 3, what's safe and what's dangerous levels of hearing on everyday, for your everyday risk, and how much damage can occur when you have loud noise affecting the hair cells in your ear. Types of everyday hearing noise: you can just be in the city and you can have loud traffic. You can go to a concert and you'll have hours of loud noise. You can go to a conference like I did, and you can be exposed to loud noise for long periods of time, at least 2-3 hours, and you do that for 5 days a week. It can create some damage. So what do we do? Well, you have to work on protecting your hearing. I want to say this, especially if you have little children and babies that are with you at a concert, a ball game, or something like that. Make sure that they have some type of hearing protection. So, how your ear turns sound into hearing. The outer ear, which you see in this display on the right-hand side, that's my right-hand side, it's going to be the left-hand side on the slide. The outer ear it acts like a funnel. So it tunnels sound waves into the ear canal to hit the eardrum, which acts like a tambourine. And so when the sound waves hit it, it vibrates. When it vibrates, those 3 bones in the middle of your ear that you can see, the 3 bones in the middle of the ear that you see, they vibrate and they amplify the motion of that sound wave that's coming through there. So the inner ear then has a little snail-looking area, the blue area that you see. It's connected to some yellow wires that look like wires, and that is your nerves that go directly to the brain. So from the cochlea, that snail-looking thing, it connects to the wires that go right to the brain, that translates and transmits the sound so that the brain can translate what's being said. So these are the hair cells. Deep in that snail-looking cochlea sit thousands and thousands of microscopic hair cells. These hair cells vibrate when they are hit. So what happens, you have mechanical energy, which is the movement of the waves. You have the mechanical energy, which is the vibration, which hits the eardrum or that tambourine apparatus. And then you have the three bones, which translates and takes that vibration and it goes to the cochlea, which stimulates these nerve cells here. From there, that vibration reaches them and they bend and they begin to fire electronically. They send an electronic. So there is an exchange of electrons going on that go through those hair cells down that yellow wire to portions of the brain. Okay? So loud noise, if you have loud noise, it tends to flatten those hair cells that are standing up. They stand up and they can feel the vibrations. But when you have a lot of loud noise, it kills them off and they'll lay flat. The more of them and the frequency that is laying flat, that's the frequency that you will lose. Most of the time, it's the higher frequencies. So what is a decibel? I'm glad you asked me. So glad you asked me. A decibel is the unit we use to measure how intense a sound is. But the scale is, it's kind of logarithmic, and small jumps in the number can be big in the amount of energy. So at 0 decibels, it's very soft, very soft. Even a whisper, if you whisper, a whisper is about 30 decibels. So 0 decibels is extremely soft, and you can barely hear that. You can barely detect that with the ear. Then you have 10 decibels, that's 10 times that sound, which hits that eardrum, which makes you have the vibrations and starts that whole kinetic energy thing that I was talking to you about in the last slide. At 3 decibels, there's double the sound energy, but it cuts the safety time in half. All right? Now, here are everyday sounds that we have. Like I said, a whisper is only 30 decibels. Normal conversation is at 60 decibels. So right now, the way I'm talking and the way you're experiencing this is at about 60 decibels. Then if you're around city traffic or a vacuum cleaner or something like that, it runs and it's about 80 decibels. Now, a lawnmower, if you're cutting grass or you're using a leaf blower or something like that, you ride a motorcycle, a Harley has a distinct sound, and that Harley sound will give you 95 decibels of sound. So if you're riding on it for a long enough time, your ears are being stimulated to hear that. So you should wear some type of hearing protection. Rock concerts, sirens, if a fire truck goes by or an ambulance goes by, that runs at about 110 decibels. So, like I said, sitting on the stage, sitting out in the audience at the AIM convention, if you sat there and you were there for 3 hours for praise and worship and for the music as they spoke, as they preached, as they sang, as the instruments played, they were at maybe 110 to 120 decibels. That sound is enough over a period of time, which you have to worry about. That's when you should really wear earplugs. So while I was there, I had earplugs within my ears so that you couldn't see it, but it muffled and tampered the 110 decibel sound down to normal conversation range around 60, 55 to 60 decibels. You can get those little sponge earplugs or other little earplugs. I don't recommend those putty ones. So here are the safe zones and the danger zones. Safe zones, you want to stay 70 decibels, 70 decibels and below. If you get to 71 to 84, that's when you need to make sure that you have some type of hearing protection, especially for children. At 85 decibels, damage begins here, and the louder the sound and the faster the harm. The louder the sound, the faster the harm. So if you raise your voice to be heard, and it can be heard at an arm's length, that's a danger zone. That's a danger zone. Not only is the decibel level, measurement for the decibel level, a problem, you also have to worry about time. So this slide basically talks to you about time. 85 decibels for 8 hours. So if you work as a construction worker, you work as a air traffic controller or something like that, they give you hearing protection. You have to use it. If you're a musician, you have to use your earplugs. Yes, it helps for you to be able to hear the sound and to communicate with each other, but you need to protect your hearing, because all of these, if you look at this slide, it tells you how much time it takes before you start to have some damage. Now, if you leave those areas and you notice that you have some ringing in your ear, it's because you're starting to have some damage. What is noise-induced hearing loss? Noise-induced hearing loss, I basically have talked to you about that. Noise-induced hearing loss is when you damage the hair cells that have, over time, slowly been flattened because of exposure to loud noise. So if you live in the country and there's not a lot of loud noise, there's not a lot of trucks, trains, airplanes, horns honking, sirens and things like that coming by, then you're not going to have as big a problem as somebody would that lives in the city, right in the city, where there's a lot of loud noise, lot of screaming, yelling, or you work at a construction area where there's a lot of loud noise. If there is sounds seem softer or unclear, loud exposure, that means you're muffled, your hearing becomes muffled and dull. Trouble understanding speech, a lot of times that occurs when you start to lose the high frequency. And as I spoke to you earlier, high frequency hearing loss occurs like when you go to a restaurant and you sit at Olive Garden and you get a long table, or the church decides they're going to go to Golden Corral and you get 2 or 3 tables and everybody's sitting around. If you sit down with your friends and you're trying to hear, but you have damage to your higher frequency, sounds are more muffled and they sound like it's hard for you to understand. You miss words, and people kind of sound like Charlie Brown's teacher. The ones that are farther away, the people that are closest to you are okay. But when there's a lot of background noise, then you have there's some hearing problems. If you're having problems with understanding when you get in public, when you get around people, I suggest you see an audiologist. That's a hearing doctor so that they can test your hearing. Ringing or buzzing in the ear, which is called tinnitus, that ringing that goes or sounds like a 33 or a 45 record when it used to start. I know that those of you probably 40 and younger have no idea what I'm talking about. But when they used to put records on that would sound like that, if it sounds like crinkling paper in your ear all the time, you really should go and have your hearing tested. Now, two types of harmful noise. I talked about continuous noise, steady ongoing sounds, machines, appliances, concerts, those musicians, people that work in factories, people that do lawn care. Please, please, I adjure you. I know when you're younger, you think, oh, who cares? I don't need that. But by the time you get 40, 45 years old, you are going to have trouble hearing sounds. You'll be married with 3 kids, and you probably don't want to hear what your wife is asking you to do because it's probably some honeydew that she wants you to come and honeydew this or honeydew that, and you probably don't want to hear it, but you're really not going to be able to hear it because you've damaged so much of your hearing. Sudden extreme loud bursts like gunshots. So if you are a hunter, make sure that you wear your hearing protection. If you like to go to fire weapons, or you're a police officer, or you work in the military and you have to fire weapons, then you need to make sure that you wear your hearing protection. Those sounds are greater than 140 decibels, and that is definitely going to damage those hair cells. So protect your hearing every day, not sometimes, but all the time, because it helps you when you get older, when you get chronologically matured, that you can hear when other people are talking to you and there's background noise, that you can still hear without a hearing aid. So, number one, turn things down. I know there's sometimes that I can hear some people's music and I'm 3 or 4 people away from them and I can hear your headphones. If your TV is on 65, that's too high. You shouldn't have to have it that high. Now, I know that the bump and the bass and the beat and to be able to head bob is so cool, and it is. You can do that for a little bit, but you should not do that over a 60-minute period. Distances help. Move back from speakers. Don't sit right under speakers. That's why I want to say in church services, when they set up chairs, make sure you don't set up chairs right directly in front of the speakers. It's damaging to the hearing. You can set the chairs, but not right up next to them. It is dangerous. It's a health hazard. It's a hearing health hazard. Limit your time. Take short breaks away from your hearing. Wear hearing protection, earmuffs, earplugs. And I know you can still be cool. Nobody knew that I had plugs in my ears so that I wouldn't lose my hearing. But because I know this stuff and I want to be able to preserve my hearing, I was able to do it. You can take something as simple as some tissue paper, tear it and roll it up, fold it over, and make a little plug and twist that right into the ear. If you twist that right into the ear, nobody knows you have it in there. and it tamps down the loud noise. Follow that 60-60 rule. Keep your headphones at a 60% volume and no more than 60 minutes. Give your ears some quiet time. We just need quiet time anyway. Our lives are hustle bustle, hurry up, get this done, rushing, 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 getting this place, getting that place. We need some time to just calm down and relax. Let our ears rest. So these are some earplugs that you can use. I prefer these foam earplugs that work really well. And you can use earmuffs if you want, the bulky ones. If you work in those loud noise areas, those are really good because years later, you're going to be paying for it. Protect your hearing. These are some things I want you to take away. Protect your hearing. Noise damage is permanent. People come to me, they've seen the audiologist, and they've got a lot of high frequency hearing loss, and then they want to know, what can I do about this noise in my ear? There's nothing we can do about it because you've already damaged the hair cells in your ear, and there's not any fix or cure for tinnitus. If you want to know more about tinnitus, please follow me on YouTube, Body and Balance 25. You can go to my YouTube channel there. I do have some TikTok information on 25 Body and Balance on TikTok. And I have a website. The website is www.balance25.com. www.balance25.com. The YouTube channel again is Balance 25. And if you want to see me on TikTok and you want to glean some information, some little quick things, 25 Balance. You can find me there. Hopefully, this has been helpful to you and you have learned some things that will be a blessing for you. That being said, I'm going to just encourage you to follow me on those social media avenues that I have mentioned. I also would love to have you visit my website and pick up my new book, Mastering the Doctor Visit. All right. I look forward to seeing you soon.
Hopefully, your horizons have been enlightening.